Oh goodness, it's been a long time since I did a review video for this channel. In fact, the last time I ever did a review video was back in December of last year when I did my review of Ghost of Tsushima, which is a fantastic game, by the way, if you haven't got a chance to play it yet. And I am looking forward to the expansion of this game real soon. Now, speaking of fantastic games, today's subject, well, not exactly a direct sequel, but rather a continuation or expansion, for a lack of a better term, of a really good game. Today's subject, Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Back in 2018, I made a review of Spider-Man on the PS4, and I loved the heck out of the game. What with the abundance of side quests to participate, that incredible gameplay, and such wonderful presentation. I suggest checking the video out if you're interested. When I saw the trailer of Miles Morales, I knew right from the start it's a must-buy, and when I started playing the game, I knew somehow all other games had to be placed on hold until I defeat the game 100%.
And just to get it out of the way, I'm reviewing the PlayStation 4 version, if only because trying to find a PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X still remain difficult to find. And even if there were some possible restocks, I decided that maybe I'll just wait until next year to get both of them, just to be sure there are more games for each console being released. In fact, the only thing I'm looking forward to real soon for the Xbox Series X, which is coming out on Xbox One anyway, would be Halo Infinite. With that said, here's my review of Spider-Man Miles Morales.
It's interesting to note that when you boot up the game, there's an option that you can check out a recap of the last game, with Miles telling the player on what went down until Miles got his spider powers. Although I still have some mixed feelings as to why they changed Peter Parker to look like a certain celebrity when his previous design is alright. But anyway, it's still good for the game to keep you up to date. Without spoiling the plot too much, 1 year has passed since the last game. Miles and his mother Rio have moved to Harlem, with Miles adjusting not only to his new neighborhood, but also continuing to gain experience as Spider-Man under Peter Parker's guidance. Just hours later, Rhino breaks out of a police convoy that was meant to bring him to the raft, and during the incident, Peter was overpowered by Rhino and was about to do the same to Miles when all of a sudden, he would mysteriously gain electric powers and subdues Rhino. Yeah, turning the game somewhat to infamous all of a sudden. The next day, when Peter was asked by Mary Jane to assist her in a story in another nation, Miles, with assistance from his best friend, Genki Lee, was then tasked to look after the city in Peter's absence. And I'll stop the story from there, as I'll let you, the players, check the rest of the story yourselves if you're getting into the game. Just like the last game, the story is also being well told, and there will be some unexpected twists as you progress further into the story. To sum it up, and I know I'll get some haters for saying this, but just like the first game, the overall screenplay and plot of the game is better than the current MCU movies. Even more so than Avengers Endgame. There, I said it. I mean, the characterizations and overall atmosphere of the game is just brilliant. There will be quirky moments, sure, especially in any Spider-Man media, but unlike films such as Spider-Man Far From Home, Miles Morales does a good job of trying to make comedy not overstay its welcome, and tries its best to make moments in the game feel more serious, which is what I like. If I wanted some comedy to overstay its welcome, that job belongs to Deadpool. As I'm reviewing the PS4 version, the graphics of the game are still great. Sure, it is recycled assets from the last game, but as you progress with the game, I do welcome some of the cosmetic changes in some areas of New York whenever a situation happens to make it look like something is happening. You can also expect for the animation of the characters to be just as good and realistic as the last game was, and the game does have nice weather effects. The core gameplay of the last game has been retained here, with most of the moves Peter had to learn previously. Miles can already perform them right from the start. From web swinging, to web shooting, to boost jumping, to spider sensing, they're all here. Very fun and easy to perform. The side quests in the game have been altered slightly, as later in the game, they are accessible by way of the in-game app that Genki created to track down who's in need of help and what crimes need to be stopped, which is actually neat and easy to find where they are taking place. Combat remains largely the same, still maintaining its fluidity and responsiveness, but Miles Morales has some original moves of his own, which I'll get into later, but it's great that some of Peter's moves are already available within Miles. You get experience points not only from stopping crimes, but also completing quests, and you get a skill point on each level up, which can be used to enhance Miles' performance further, and he'll gain extra skills later in the story. Doing some of Peter's simulations and stopping crimes earn you activity tokens, which are used not only to create new spider suits, but also unlock some passive abilities along with it for some extra assistance, although some suits are unlocked by doing some side quests. Personally, my favorite would have to be this Miles Morales 2020 suit, as it does look kick butt. Later in the game, you'll find some tech parts which are used to either create or enhance Miles' arsenal. Unlike Peter, Miles' equipment is half of what Peter has, but they're still fun to use, and the developers made his equipment more limited because of the special abilities he would later receive in the story, which I will say, Miles Morales is freaking broken! As mentioned, he gains bioelectric powers in which Genki names it the Venom Blast, yeah, strange name I know, and Miles can use it not only to incapacitate enemies, but also charge or drain energy from machines for some puzzle solving, and the strength of the Venom Blast can be enhanced, making Miles a cross between himself and either Cole McGrath from Infamous or even Static. In the first game, I enjoyed going through stealth sections, taking out criminals with style, but in this game, Miles would eventually gain the power of invisibility, making some of the stealth sections even easier to play through. Though the caveat is that your gauge does drain faster to almost immediately whenever you connect an attack or stealth move. But even with that caveat, it doesn't take long for the gauge to regenerate itself, and it's funny to see your enemies act like clueless idiots whenever you activate invisibility again, especially right in front of them, and it's a great move to perform when you need to escape and try the stealth sections again in case you mess up. These abilities are so fun to use, and it makes matches against the game's bosses even more interesting, with various ways to punish your opponents, or mess with them just for the heck of it. The audio in the game is very solid. Unlike the first game, which its soundtrack is reminiscent of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the soundtrack in Miles Morales blends orchestra with hip-hop music, and they sound great. The game is short, roughly around 12 hours if you're only going for the main story, but in my opinion, you can make the game slightly longer if you're going after the side quests, which I actually did, and those are always fun to do, as well as helpful if you want to enhance Miles even further than he already is, or gain more unlockables. For as short as the game is, the replay value is still high on this game, with activities aplenty and great fan service to Spider-Man fans. Just like the past, this game will also receive a perfect 10. If you haven't gotten the first game yet, I suggest getting it and its DLC chapters as well as Miles Morales and have fun marathoning all of them for a truly spectacular experience.
With both of these games so awesome to play, it makes me wish that Insomniac Games would just hurry up and start making Spider-Man 2 already. As long as they could keep the core gameplay the same, add some new elements that would enhance the experience even further, and also make the story just as good as these two games, those will be things that I'll be definitely looking forward to in the sequel. If they start making it already, that is. I hope you viewers like this video, and if by any chance you find this video and all of my other content interesting, Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't done it already. Feel free to give this video and other contents of my channel a like. And don't forget to follow me on other social media outlets like Facebook or Twitter. And if you have friends or other people that you know that may be interested on the stuff I talk about, feel free to share this video as well as my channel. It'll definitely help my channel a lot. And I appreciate you viewers for it. So what other game will I be venturing forward to next? Well, there is something that I haven't done in a while, or rather a long time, and that is creating a marathon. And I want marathon to start with, then a marathon of a certain blue hedgehog, whose series just turned 30 recently, or rather this year. So up next in the Chronicles, I'll be conducting my next Sonic the Hedgehog marathon, which I will dub Sonic the Hedgehog Marathon Volume 2. Last time I did a Sonic the Hedgehog marathon, I was focusing on both the Sega Genesis and the Sega CD. So for this one, I'll be doing two other consoles that not many people would actually own, except for a few people that I know, as well as hardcore Sega fans, which you'll see real soon. Until then, this has been Musashi X, and I bid you all farewell. Take care, stay tuned, and just be sure to stay safe. Be sure to wash your hands. Be sure to wear a mask if you're going out. And if you can, get yourself vaccinated. It'll definitely save your life. I promise you that. So yeah, take care and stay tuned, folks.